Good morning one more time. Let me welcome our first speaker of the day for day 2 Sian Hall, Piyush Rahate. He will be speaking about product ownership, a twist in the tail. And meanwhile, while we are having Piyush here, we have Harish Raju in Peacock Hall speaking about AI powered transformation. I am hoping you're all in the right hall, choosing the right speaker. Piyush Rahate is an Agile advocate with a focus on empowered teams. Please join your hands in welcoming Piyush Rahate to begin his session.
Now the mic is in my hand. Okay, so I fear not using mic because the moment I hold a mic, I start singing. And if I start singing, then you people will go out of this room. I don't want that to happen. So I was avoiding the mic, but anyways, let's start with the mic. So don't go by the title. It is a marketing gimmick. I wanted people to come to this call or session and sit here. That's why I put product ownership. Okay? So I'm not going to talk about product ownership. Okay.
Twist, there is a twist, so...
Let's see.
Is that the twist?
Yes, that was the twist. All right. So, a quick about myself. Okay, let me bring my picture up first. Is it working? We have a technical issue again.
Another twist.
Restart. Now it's working. Technical issue solved, right? So we are all dealing with technology and we all know that there will always be technical issues. The problem with that is way back in 1985 or 1986, a book was published. I'm not sure if anyone of you have read it or not. The book was called Peopleware. If you are interested, you should read. Okay. And one of the most important quote in that book was, our problems, although we are in IT and technology world, our problems are not technological. Our problems are more sociological. Okay, so we might be hiding behind technical issues, but that's not always true. Okay, so let me start by giving a brief about not my photographs. Okay, that's not me. I'm here. Okay, but why I have brought them up? That's because we are talking about sociology, right? And there is no other way of getting and interacting with people once you get outside of your house. Today, most of us are working from home, so you might want to figure out some different ways to get out of home, right? And that's what I did. I found bird photography as my passion. That's what I have been doing recently, and that's what I'm showcasing here. Okay. Besides that, yes, as an agile coach and consultant, I'm working with teams, helping them to do agility in a better way. And probably some of those experiences is what I'm going to share today, not about photography. All right. So all of us, we are all saying that agile is better, correct? Yep. Yeah. Okay. But better than what? Waterfall. Yes? Yes. Awesome. How many of you have read the white paper written by Dr. Winston Royce about waterfall? Anyone? So if you have not read it, then how do you know that waterfall is bad?
Been through it.
Again,
At least for the IT industry.
our problems are not technological. Our problems are sociological. You are implementing the waterfall that you are told by people around you. Not the waterfall that was mentioned by Dr. Winston Royce. Make sense? Okay, and that is one of our challenges. We often go back and we start comparing, saying that agile is better, agile is better. We don't want project managers, we don't want those people, this people, right? We do all of that without understanding why we are doing it. Okay, and that becomes our challenge. A lot of times we simply say or share what we have heard from people around us without getting to the depth of the real problem, right? And typically waterfall is not bad if you do it in the right way, as mentioned in the white paper. Okay. It is still suitable for a lot of problem domains. It may not be suitable for your typical software development work, possibly. Okay. But again, that you will have to figure it out in your own context. Okay. My question is, if you are doing Scrum, for example, or any other agile mechanism, and then you have teams. Okay, and this is one of my experiences. I was working for a client who had hired 3 different organizations. Okay, the organization where I was part of, our job was to do development, that is only coding. The other organization, another big service company in India, their job was only to do testing. Okay, and then there was third team, a third organization whose job was only to do deployment. How agile was that? Super agile, right? Because we all are Scrum teams, but my Scrum team only writes the code. Okay, your Scrum team and your Scrum team only does the testing. You are going to do testing only in one sprint later than mine. So isn't that waterfall again? So then how is agile better?
I mean, how do you regulate it is the key point, right?
So that is more of a body shopping, like humans you are deploying. But agile waterfall you are talking about the SDLC. So we are, I guess, mixing 2 different things, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there, everyone
So
is
who is going to use these processes that you are setting up? People only, right?
Yeah.
So if you do not get these people onboarded in the right way, does it really matter whether you do agile or waterfall or something else?
No, some practices of waterfall may be best and some are better. Like we talk a
It is
sprint,
all-
it's agile, and again in the sprint we are time bounded, it's waterfall. So it's always a contradictory thing
We are
that we
actually
look
comparing
into.
apple oranges here, I guess, because we
Everyone
are talking
has its
about
own view.
people working for same client,
Hmm.
and we are comparing it to a SDLC, which those people have to really use to
Okay.
develop something.
So what is Scrum?
So, typically, Scrum suggests that it is a cross-functional team who is capable of doing all the work that is required to deliver an increment.
Absolutely, absolutely, good definition. Okay, but Scrum is SDLC. You are using Scrum to build softwares only, right?
Yes.
So it is SDLC. Whether you call Scrum, whether you call it waterfall, they both are SDLC. Okay. One is telling you that you should have cross-functional teams. Who is going to build those cross-functional teams?
People.
People. That means you people, your organization, your leaders. Those are the people who are going to build it, right? And you are the people who are inside of the organizations who should get it done. If you're not doing that, and if you're taking up the practice of Scrum, saying that, okay, we are all Scrum teams, but my Scrum team only does coding, your Scrum team only does testing, then are you really moving away from waterfall? Or are you still doing waterfall with renaming it or relabeling it as Scrum?
Then it's a cultural issue. It's like the organization.
Who changes the culture and who makes the culture?
Then when it comes to code, who is coaching, like the people who have been there for sitting for a long era, or what do you call it, like your the Gen X or what the era, right? So where they have been working with a waterfall as this kind of an iterative or a spiral model, and now when you wanted to have it coin it in a different way, and those are not coached or culturally there is no change.
Okay, so tell me one simple question, okay? We are talking about culture, right? Culture is created by one person or majority of people?
Majority of the
Okay. I am one coach. You are 100 of developers. You are not changing. Who is going to change?
Coach have to change.
Change the coach.
Change the coach.
Because you're not.
What do you expect me to do? Come on. I also have EMIs to pay.
When we talk about culture, right, people actually practice it, right? The coach or the leadership sets a tone or a framework for it.
Yeah.
Now, if they set a right tone, but people interpret it differently, then again it's one for a toss, right? Same is how I look at, like, what is better, agile or waterfall. First, let me see what fits my problem, not what is more prevalent and popular in the market. If my problem is known exactly, I have low risks of failure, I know exactly what I'm building.
Thank
What is
you.
the harm in doing waterfall?
Super. Great answer. Thank you for that. Okay. So, what he just mentioned, your good name, please?
Shaker.
Shekhar. What Shekhar just mentioned is we need to figure out which way is better for solving our problem. Right? And we have to figure that out. Is our problem to be solved using Scrum or something else? Correct? The problem with that is who is ultimately going to implement it?
People.
And that's what I have been saying since start of my call, right, or session, that it's not technological problems that we are dealing with, it's sociological problems that we are dealing with. And if we are dealing with that, we need some ways, some techniques that would often help you to deal with people. Okay? Ma'am?
Agility as such creates that social psychological safety. I mean, by nature of the Agile manifesto, whatever things were implemented in the manifesto and in the frameworks which observe agility, we're talking of psychological safety there. By saying that people are more important than processes and everything should be in balance. Waterfall didn't talk about.
That's an assumption. That waterfall didn't talk about it.
No, what I mean is this waterfall creates stress on contract negotiations and stuff. So
Assumption. Sorry to say that.
First of all, if you, as Shekhar mentioned, if you have clarity, it's good. When you don't know anything,
For standardized,
when you don't have
standardized, we
you
can
can't
go
take
for
risk in the
waterfall.
future. can't
You-
take huge risk.
You cannot improve anything unless you have standardized it. Right? Waterfall or probably your PMI has been helping us to standardize a lot of processes. Right? And if you have a standardized process, then only you can identify what else is missing that we can improve. If you never do that, if you never do any kind of standardization and you allow people to do whatever they want to do, nothing is going to get done. Right? What I'm suggesting here today is a little bit different. Okay? Let me ask you this. Okay? Have you been getting into the role of a product owner? Anyone here? Yeah? Okay. And have you been spending your days something like this, writing user stories? Yeah? Summary reports for your stakeholders at times, sometimes. Okay? At the review, maybe accepting the user stories, right? Or probably you're a product owner with an adjective, like a technical product owner, yeah, functional product owner, pop. I was like, what is pop? So then I came to know it is product owner proxy. I heard proxy product owner and then someone said pop. I was confused a bit. But have you seen that kind of designations around us? Okay. Which of these are needed by Scrum? But we have them, plethora of them around us. Correct? So, is that really what we are supposed to do? Probably not. Right? We need to move away from it and we need to start thinking from the perspective of what is the problem that we are trying to solve with product ownership. And in my personal experience, where I spent a lot of time in a couple of product companies and some of the service companies, one thing that I have learned is probably we are not going to get access to the actual business most of the times. How many of you are actually working with the end customer? 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5. Okay. In this big group, we have only 5 people who are actually dealing with the real customers. So then what are the rest of the people doing in the name of product ownership? Right? And if we are proxies and if we cannot make the decision about maximizing the value of product, which is the expectation, okay, then probably we should actually just focus on the areas that we are given in our organizational constraints and probably try to make that better. That way at least we will be able to add or create some value for our organizations, for our products. And that's what I want to highlight about this. Okay, probably some of you might be aware of this quadrant, a product management quadrant. Maybe not. Okay, very basic stuff. We have 2 different areas. One is your strategy, one is your operations. One is your internal aspects, one are your external aspects. Okay, when we are typically looking at your strategy, internal strategy, we are talking about things like your business strategy, your product vision, product goals, whatever you're trying to build for your end users. Okay. On your market side or external strategy side, you have your aspects such as competitor analysis, personas, product pricing, all of these factors you will have to focus on. Do you have access to do these things as product owners? Okay, no problem. What about operations like customer support, product support? Yes, some of you might be having it. Super. Okay. What about operational part on the internal side, like writing the requirements? All of us have some access to it. Correct? Risk analysis, risk mitigation, those are the things that we are often taking care of. Release management, we have a say in that part. Correct? Similarly, coming up with the costing, maybe people management, maybe resource management, okay? Process implementation. All of these are factors that are pretty much in our control. Those are the things we are often dealing with. Make sense? With me so far? Okay. Now, if you look from the Shekhar.
Sorry, what would be your take on, let's say, we are sort of practicing product ownership in a slight different style, in a way that we have global rollouts across our company of a product which is commercially off the shelf. But then we're doing product ownership on it to ensure end user experience in terms of when they get functionality. What will be my technical challenges or technical upgrades required as I progress on my roadmap and all those things? Would you still consider that activity as sort of product ownership in a different sense within the company?
I am coming to that.
Oh.
Exactly that same point I am trying to make. Okay, we all are focused on delivery of product, right? In the older language, you would call it product delivery, right? We are taking care of all the deliverables. We are taking care of technology. We are taking care of how to solve the problems of our customers, right? That's what we are mostly focused on in most of our IT organizations. Make sense? And that part is here, internal operations part. Okay, where you are gathering requirements possibly, where you are working with your developers to get them things done possibly, right? Clarifying the requirements and all that stuff. That is what we are doing here. Okay, in the traditional world, this internal operations part was done by a particular person. Who was that person? The person about whom we made a lot of fun yesterday during the stand-up comedy. Not HR don't come to our team meetings. Product managers or project managers, right? We are suddenly saying because we are moving to this new way of working, we do not require these people. Fine. You don't want to keep that role? Don't keep the role. But what about the skills? As a product owner, don't you require these skills? You will still require the skills to understand how to get the right requirements. You still require the skills which will help you to help your developers build the product in a better way. So why are we not focused on enabling ourselves with these skills? I don't want you to go ahead and say, I want to still be a project manager. No. If your organization is saying you are going agile and you will be product owners, go ahead, become product owners. But don't let go of the skills. Skills are still required. Okay? And skills is what will set you apart from rest of the people. That is important. Okay? Another thing that I would want to introduce you people is something, no, the diagram is just drawn by me, but that concept is not mine, okay? So the signature doesn't imply that the concept is mine. Okay, you might all have seen this area or circle of influence. Okay, what we are talking about here is there are some areas of control, some areas which you have complete control on. Okay, there are areas or there are aspects which you can influence within your role, and then there are a lot of things which are of your concern but you cannot do much about it. Okay. If I go back to this slide, you have these 4 sections, 4 quadrants. Typically in most of the organizations, in my personal observation and experience, number 4 is something that is in our control completely. Right? So let's focus on that and ensure that we can grow our control with our skills in the rest of the areas. And when we are able to do that, that's when we will become much more valuable product owners for our teams and our organization. Right? And all of these aspects are part of, sorry to say, project management. Okay? Skills to be developed. So don't just think about, okay, I'm a product owner, so my job is to just get the requirements and put the requirements. No, we have to go beyond it, and there are many more areas that we will have to explore. A couple of things that you can do as product owners, from my experience, is probably connect with your stakeholders. Identify who your stakeholders are. Okay, your stakeholders could be users, could be your influencers, could be governance, could be your providers. You can categorize them. Okay, and based on that, you can figure out a way to connect with them, set their expectations, and manage. Okay, creating a good stakeholder management plan is a skill that PMI has taught us long back. Okay, and if you can establish that kind of plan, it is much better for you people to engage with them and keep them or meet their expectations in the right way. Make sense? All right. Another thing that you can do is road mapping. Roadmaps, part of project management, isn't it? But it's a skill. If you do not have a roadmap today, would your stakeholders know when you are going to deliver something? No, right? What you should be doing is you should be clarifying to your stakeholders, we have a roadmap, but this roadmap is not a commitment. This roadmap is more of a forecast. And as we know more about our product, as we know more about our domain, maybe this product roadmap is going to evolve, maybe this is going to change. Okay? And if you can do that in the right way, then probably you are going to add more value to your stakeholders. Okay? More often than not, with Agile, a lot of people say, Agile says no planning. Okay? No, that's not true. Agile says planning is important, plans are useless. Right? Not my quote. Okay? I believe some admiral said it. I forget the name. Okay? If anyone knows, you can share. Alright? So, create your roadmap. Again, there are many different techniques, not only one. Explore those techniques, keep those techniques handy for yourself. Use the right tools. I'm not going to promote Jira, okay? But Jira is a good tool. After I have used ADO. Right? So anyone who has used ADO will agree with me. Okay. So not about tools, but understanding how to use the tools to create the right value for your stakeholders, for your users. RACI? Maybe. Do you need to have RACI? Not necessarily. But can it help? Possibly. Right? Definitely, right? So if you are saying yes and definitely, then use it. Okay? Don't just leave things or skills because they were associated with something else. Okay? Skills are always useful, designation might not be. Okay? So think from the perspective of skill creation. Okay? Define your success metrics. How many of you have heard about RAG reports? RAG, red, amber, green? Used also, right? What is the best thing about red, amber, green reports? Very, very colorful, right? And
But red is never liked by management.
yeah, the problem with that red is your project is always green, right?
On paper.
On paper, always green, right?
No, it is red.
Right, 1 month before the release date, it simply jumps to amber, okay? And on the release date, red. What is happening is typically those metrics become or give us the watermelon effect. Okay, on the paper, all cool, all green, but not necessarily. Transparency is the key, right? If we start creating transparency with the right techniques, probably we are going to have much better impact with our stakeholders, with our customers as product owners. Right?
So Piyush, but
Yeah.
even transparency can be affected by a RAG report also. It is not a problem with the RAG report, it's a problem with the way
Agree.
we use it.
Agreed. Like I said, problems are sociological, not technological. All right. So,
Developers have problem. Developers know the issue, but they said we will fix it in 2 to 3 days. That's not an issue. No need to say to leadership.
developer is a person. Ultimately, human. Humans fear. Okay. Humans fear for their EMIs. Very honestly. Okay. I have 5 more minutes. Let me wrap this up with one last thought. Okay, there are other better ways of creating transparency. There are other better ways of using metrics. Okay, if you people want to explore, you can search for evidence-based management. Okay, that's one of the good techniques that you might be able to use to create better transparency and connect with your stakeholders in a better way. Okay, open to use. Free resource, just search for it and you will find it. Okay, so circling back to the thought, project management as a skill is still good to have. Okay, you can build on it and you can create and meet the expectations of your stakeholders. Okay, no need to worry that I am a product owner, should I talk about project management? No. Make sense? Super. So on that note, thank you. If any questions, I'm here. And if I'm not here, then you can find me at the Agile Mania booth as well. Yeah.
It's not a question. So when you spoke about the RACI, right? So you said you may or may not, right? So I'm the Scrum Master for FactSet and I have done using the RACI metrics along with my 6 product owners and they were looking at me so seriously. It's still a useful thing.
People can't do anything about your people.
Still it's a useful thing.
It's useful.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions from anyone?
Right, we have just good 5 minutes. If you wanted to talk about anything to Piyush, this is your right time.
So I might just want to apologize to ma'am at the end. I twice said assumptions. Sorry for that. I hope you did not get offended. I was just trying to say that oftentimes we do not get into the depth of the things, and sometimes when we present something, it might come from our experiences, and our experiences often lead to our assumptions. Okay, so if you found it a little bit rude, sorry for that. I'm sorry. Okay. Any other questions?
So is the difference between waterfall and agile is when I cut my watermelon,
Sorry?
I cut my watermelon every sprint is how you cut agile. When I cut my watermelon only at the release point is waterfall.
So to me, if I go back to the paper that Winston Royce has published, if the people who first implemented it, if they would have done it in the right way, we would not have come to Agile. Right? Everything is already in there. Winston Royce has clearly mentioned that you need to take feedback into account. Okay? Not only from the next stage itself, but at every point when you are doing your product development. Okay? Especially if you are trying to build new products. Okay? So you need to take that feedback. In Agile, that's what we are exactly doing. Okay? Instead of doing it for like 6 months, now you have made it 2-week sprints. Okay? And you're taking faster feedback. Okay? Or 1 month sprint at max. Okay? The problem is, if you still implement the whole approach that one sprint is development, next sprint is testing, and the next sprint is deployment, then it is still waterfall that was there on the page number 2. Okay, that's not what we are looking forward to. Right? So just do Agile in the right way with the right people, and it should solve your problems.
The right
So it is
mindset.
actually a
With right
straight
mindset.
call.
With the right
Do the
mindset.
right thing in the right way, in the right time. That's the
Exactly. Super. Thank you for coming.
I just,
It depends on human.
Yeah.
Agile is a philosophy, right?
To the delegates who are moving, let's be a little slow, not disrupting the flow for other speakers and other sessions.
I am there at Agile Mania booth. If you require me, I am just around. Just find me if you have more questions. Thank you.
Yours is next section, no?
mine is at 2:30.
Thank you very much, Piyush, to share a memento with Piyush.
I can make it happen.
It's a pleasure having you both here. Thank you. Oh, the memento is shining more than your faces. I hope that's okay in the photo.
Should we have my life?
Yeah.
This is good.